One of the most striking examples of cultural handover is found in Sicily, initially under Byzantine influence, then briefly in the hands of the Aghlabids and later Fatimids. The island flourished as a cultural melting pot. When Norman adventurers conquered Sicily, they encountered a population that spoke Arabic, followed Islamic legal structures, and had architectural feats reminiscent of North Africa. Rather than eradicating these elements, some Norman rulers integrated them. This fusion is evident in buildings such as the Cappella Palatina in Palermo, which features Arabic inscription alongside Christian iconography. Al-Andalus, Muslim Spain, similarly mirrored these dynamics. The city of Cordoba dazzled visitors with streetlights, running water, and a society that advanced scholarship, commerce, and the arts. Christian travelers from Northern Europe were astounded by the libraries and the presence of women as well as men in academic circles. Later, as Castile, Aragon, and Portugal reconquered lands, the translation wave gained momentum, bridging European knowledge with what had been cultivated under Islamic rule, often portrayed purely as religious. Wars. The Crusades inadvertently contributed to cultural and intellectual cross-fertilization. Though the Crusaders were intent on conquering or defending holy sites, they also encountered advanced fortifications, medical practices, and navigational knowledge. Some knights returned with not just spoils of war, but with new awareness, exotic spices, architectural techniques, and an appreciation for more sophisticated forms of scholarship. European nobility saw how Islamic polities governed multi-ethnic and multi-religious domains. While tolerance varied widely in Islamic lands, there were often examples of legal structures that, at minimum, recognized Jewish and Christian communities as people of the book, giving them a measure of self-governance in exchange for taxes. In an era when religious uniformity in Europe was heavily enforced, this approach broadened the conversation on governance and citizenship. Trade routes that spanned the Mediterranean, Red Sea, and Indian Ocean were vital conduits for knowledge. Merchants needed reliable calculations for distance, currency exchange, and shipping logistics. Innovations in geometry, algebra, and astronomy found real-world applications in navigation and cartography. Texts discussing these subjects gained value, encouraging their copying and translation, even in purely commercial hubs. Venice, Genoa, and Pisa rose as maritime powers, forging commercial treaties with Egyptian and Levantine ports. Genoese or Venetian traders who lived for extended periods in places like Alexandria or Tripoli of the Levant often learned local languages out of necessity. Over time, they encountered manuscripts, heard about scientific breakthroughs, and sometimes brought back treatises that local scholars in Europe would examine. This synergy reinforced how knowledge and commerce intertwined. Cities like Sicily and Cordoba were just the tip of the iceberg. One final segment pulls everything together, and you won't want to miss it. Press thumbs up now, then prepare for the closing perspective. So did Islam save Western civilization? Perhaps it's more accurate to say that the Islamic world acted as a steward for a collective intellectual heritage. Ancient Greek, Roman, Persian, and Indian texts survived and were significantly enriched in Arabic. The assimilation of these texts into Europe from the 10th century onward advanced fields such as medicine, mathematics, astronomy, and architecture, catalyzing a cultural revolution. On a deeper level, it challenges the notion that Western and Eastern societies lived in two separate bubbles. Instead, they were overlapping spheres, constantly trading goods, ideas, and populations. The lines we draw on maps can't fully capture the flows of knowledge that define entire eras. When Dr. Roy Casagrande speaks of this contradiction, he's shining a spotlight on the ongoing tension between the labels we adopt versus the messy, brilliant reality of our shared human story. If the classical era provided seeds of wisdom, then the Islamic Golden Age tended those seeds, ensuring they didn't wither when Europe neglected its own heritage. Eventually, those seeds seeds were replanted back in European soil, where they blossomed into the Renaissance and beyond. Here's one step you can take right now. Pick a standard historical achievement, perhaps the invention of the algebraic equation, a key medical breakthrough, or an astronomical model. Seek out the earliest sources behind it. Trace each translator, each scholar, each empire that nurtured this piece of knowledge. Once you do, share that background with a friend or colleague. You'll spark conversations that upend the simplistic East versus West narrative. All it takes is that first move, scanning the origins of the knowledge we often take for granted. Do that and help rewrite a story that belongs to all of us, no matter which label we carry. Because if we grasp how entwined our roots really are, it might just open us to new levels of respect and cooperation in the present. Thank you for being part of this enlightening journey. Remember, every shift in perspective sparks a ripple of change. Together, we challenge the boundaries of our understanding and shape a future based on true knowledge. If you believe in the power of questioning and expanding horizons, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join this mission. May wisdom guide us all on the path of enlightenment, and may our pursuit of truth never falter. Amen. For 11 seconds, thank you for standing with us and honoring this legacy. Knowledge unites, sparks compassion, and ignites purpose. May we remain steadfast in seeking truth, bridging hearts, and uplifting our shared heritage. Amin.